The second you arrived here, a strange feeling began settling into the air around you, the kind you can't explain but somehow instantly recognize. Somewhere nearby, a person is making their way toward your door carrying an old dark-colored bag, gripping it tightly, like it contains something far too important to lose. This isn't some ordinary visit or meaningless coincidence. Every move leading up to this moment has been connected to a story that's been hidden from you for far too long. Inside that bag is something deeply personal, something connected to your life in ways you never expected, and the truth behind it has been kept quiet by people who hoped it would stay buried forever. But secrets have a way of resurfacing when the time is finally right. Lately, you may have noticed subtle shifts around you, unfamiliar emotions, strange memories returning, or moments that feel too meaningful to ignore. That's because certain pieces of your life are beginning to align. The person bringing this bag is not arriving with bad intentions. In fact, they have spent a long time observing from a distance, protecting you silently, without ever asking for recognition. For a while, fear stopped them from coming forward, because they understood how powerful this discovery could be. They knew the contents would challenge everything you believed about certain people and moments from your past. No phone call could explain it properly, and no warning would have softened the impact. Some truths can only be faced directly. Now the choice rests with you, because once this chapter opens, nothing about your understanding of your journey will remain the same again. Listen closely now. There's a reason the bag is black. Not for fear, not for secrecy, but because the moment you open it, the color of your life shifts. It's the kind of object that breaks cycles, exposes hidden motives, and lights up shadows where people thought they could hide forever. Inside it, there's no curse, no danger, no harm. What's inside is far more powerful than all of that combined, because it reveals the real story about someone who has been pretending around you, someone who has been smiling with their mouth, but trembling with their heart, someone who has been keeping a truth that was slowly destroying them, all because they were afraid of losing you. There is a moment coming, sooner than you expect, when you'll hear footsteps outside your door, not rushed, not panicked, but deliberate. They'll stop just inches away, and the black bag will be placed gently on the ground as if it's fragile, like it holds something that could shatter if treated carelessly. Then, without knocking, without calling your name, they'll step back. They won't wait for you to come outside. They won't try to explain. They'll simply disappear into the night or melt into the morning air, hoping that once you touch that bag, your intuition will guide you toward the truth they never had the courage to say out loud. And when you finally hold it, you'll feel something strange, like the weight isn't coming from the objects inside, but from the emotions attached to them. Emotions that someone has carried for far too long. It contains memories that were hidden from you, unfinished stories, revelations that pull threads from the past and tie them to your next chapter. Someone has been collecting every clue, every detail, every unanswered moment, placing them together so that you can finally see the picture clearly. This bag is not a threat, it is an awakening. And once you open it, nothing in your life will stay the same, because it doesn't just reveal what someone hid from you, it reveals why. My beloved child, before you take another breath, understand this. The moment you pressed play on this part, the entire energy around that mysterious black bag shifted again. It's almost as if the universe itself wants you to stay right here, listening, without moving, without blinking, without scrolling, because what I'm about to reveal will tighten your chest, sharpen your senses, and pull you deeper into the truth waiting at your door. That bag isn't just an object, it's a message, a confession, and a turning point wrapped into one. And the person who placed it there didn't choose you by chance. They chose you because they know your heart carries a strength that most people never get to witness. Here's something you haven't been told. The person who dropped that black bag didn't walk away casually. They stood there for a moment you didn't see, hidden behind a quiet breath, holding back emotions that almost cracked them open. They wanted to knock. They wanted to say something. They wanted to stop pretending. But fear sat on their tongue like a heavy stone. So instead, they left silently, trusting that the truth inside the bag would speak on their behalf. And what's inside has the power to expose why they've been acting strange, distant, protective, or overwhelmed lately. Every movement they've made, every word they've swallowed, every step they've taken away from you, it's all connected to what's sealed inside. Let me pull you deeper, because you need to know this. The black bag contains something that was never meant for public eyes, not even for their closest people. It carries a revelation that was kept hidden in locked drawers, private notes, unsent messages, and late-night thoughts. The moment you open it, you'll understand why someone has been protecting your name in conversations you'll never hear, defending your existence in rooms you've never stepped into, and stopping people from speaking against you even when you weren't present. The bag holds the final piece of a mystery you didn't know you were part of, and the reason it's coming to you now is because the time for hiding is over. Listen carefully. Right now, someone is watching your energy from afar, not in a creepy way, but in a way that feels almost sacred. They're waiting to see how you respond when the truth drops into your hands. They're hoping you don't push it away. They're hoping you don't ignore it. Because inside that bag lies something they carried with trembling fingers, something they guarded like a fragile truth that could break them if exposed. It's not money. It's not danger. It's not anything that harms you. Instead, it's something that protects your future, something that reveals their intentions, something that unlocks the reason they've been holding themselves back from saying what they really feel. My beloved child, the moment you stepped into this part, the silence around that mysterious black bag grew heavier, almost like the air itself is holding its breath, waiting for you to finally uncover what's been hidden for far too long. And trust me, what's coming next will not just keep you watching, it will pull you so deep into the truth that you won't even feel time passing, because now we're entering the layer that no one dared to touch, the layer that reveals why this bag arrived at your door in the first place, and why the person who dropped it couldn't bring themselves to face you directly. Before that package ever reached your doorstep, a storm of hesitation had already unfolded behind the scenes. The person carrying it spent countless moments battling with their own thoughts, replaying every possible conversation in their head, wondering how you would react once everything finally came to light. There were unfinished texts sitting in drafts, late-night walks filled with second thoughts, and long pauses where silence felt easier than honesty. It was never about fear of you as a person. It was the fear of what honesty could awaken once the silence disappeared. Deep down, they understood that certain truths have the power to shift relationships, expose hidden emotions, and force people to confront realities they have avoided for far too long. And still, despite every reason to stay quiet, they kept moving forward because some things eventually become too heavy to carry alone. What makes this even more intense is that not everyone wanted this message to find you. There were voices trying to bury it beneath doubt and confusion, people insisting that some things are better left unsaid. They believed revealing everything would only complicate lives and reopen emotions that had been carefully locked away. Yet one person refused to let uncertainty win. They chose transparency over comfort and honesty over convenience. Even while pressure surrounded them from every side, they held on to the belief that you had a right to understand what had been hidden from you. The truth may not arrive gently, and it may leave questions lingering in your mind long after the moment passes, but sometimes, clarity is the only thing capable of setting people free from the weight of unanswered silence. Let me bring you even closer. There is an object inside the black bag that was in their possession for far too long. It's something they kept hidden in a place only they could reach, something they never wanted anyone else to touch. When they packed it into the bag, their hands trembled, not because the object is dangerous, but because it carries the kind of emotional weight that can only exist when someone has been silently protecting you. It's a piece of evidence, a memory, a message, a revelation, one that proves they've been fighting for you in ways you never saw, defending you in places you never entered, and choosing you even when choosing you cost them something. And here's the part that tightens the story. As soon as they dropped the bag at your door, something inside them broke open. A feeling they have buried for months, maybe years, finally surfaced. They walked away quickly not because they didn't want to see you, but because they feared that if they looked into your eyes at that moment, they would confess everything, every truth, every intention, every emotion, and they weren't ready for their entire heart to fall out in front of you. This bag was their silent confession letter, their unspoken truth, their way of finally giving you the power to decide what happens next. My beloved child, the second you entered this part, something in the story around that mysterious black bag sharpened, like a lens finally coming into focus. You're no longer just listening, you're standing right at the edge of the moment where hidden truths start leaking through the cracks. And now, the universe is pulling you closer than ever, because what comes next is the part that the person who dropped that bag hoped you would never uncover. But destiny is not waiting anymore. It's unfolding in real time, right in front of you. Before that person placed the black bag at your door, they had a conversation that changed everything. Someone confronted them, someone who has been secretly monitoring your connection, someone who knows exactly how powerful your presence is in their life. This person demanded answers, demanded explanations, demanded to know why they were suddenly protecting you more fiercely than ever. And in that heated moment, a truth slipped out. Something raw, something emotional, something they never planned on revealing. The truth wasn't about the bag, it was about you. And the moment your name passed their lips with that kind of emotion, everything around them shifted. That's when they knew they couldn't hide this any longer. That bag had to reach you. Let me take you deeper. When they walked toward your door, the black bag wasn't just an object, it was a decision to finally break the silence, a decision to finally let the truth speak. Their pulse was racing, not out of fear, but because inside that bag is something that ties them to you in ways that go beyond words, something that reveals how many times they've chosen you when no one was watching, something that shows the sacrifices they made quietly, without asking for credit, without expecting praise. They did it because your presence meant more to them than anything they could admit out loud. And now, that truth is inches away from your hands. Here's the twist. The black bag contains a piece of truth that someone tried to erase from your life, a message that was intercepted, a memory that was supposed to stay hidden, a document, a photograph, a note, something that exposes the real reason behind their behavior, something that reveals who tried to come between you, who tried to mislead them, who tried to twist the story. This isn't just a bag, it's evidence of everything you weren't supposed to know, and the moment you open it, you'll see exactly who has been pulling strings behind your back, and who has been fighting those strings with every ounce of their strength. Now listen closely. The person who dropped that bag hasn't slept properly for days. They keep replaying the moment in their head, the moment they finally let go of the thing they held on to for so long. They were caught between fear and peace at the same time. Fear, because they knew the truth hidden inside that black bag could completely change the way you look at them. Peace, because after carrying that burden in silence for so long, they finally made the choice to let it go. They never wanted to force themselves into your life or disturb your world. Instead, they stayed distant, quietly hoping that one day you would understand the reason behind everything. The bag was never meant to create chaos in your mind. It was their final attempt to release years of emotions they could no longer hide. The second you stepped closer to uncovering what was inside, the atmosphere around it shifted. The room itself felt different, tense and strangely heavy, as though every untold memory trapped inside was waiting for permission to finally come alive. You are standing closer than ever to a truth capable of changing the way you remember the past and the people connected to it, especially the person who arrived at your door carrying that mysterious bag with trembling hands and exhausted eyes. What seemed ordinary at first was never ordinary at all. Long before they gathered the courage to leave it there, they spent countless nights staring at it in silence, unable to decide whether revealing the truth would heal everything or destroy what remained. Some nights they almost threw it away, convinced it was too dangerous to open old wounds. Other nights they held onto it tightly, believing you deserved answers no matter how painful they might be. In the end, they chose honesty over silence, even though it terrified them more than losing everything. There were nights they couldn't sleep, pacing back and forth, clutching the handles, whispering to themselves that you deserved the truth, but fearing the consequences. They knew that once this bag touched your hands, there would be no going back. No pretending. No silence to hide inside. And every time they imagined your reaction, their chest tightened, not because the truth would hurt you, but because it might reveal just how deeply they've been connected to you without you realizing it. Let me take you into the moment everything snapped. It happened unexpectedly. They were sitting alone, holding the bag, reading through what's inside one last time, your name appearing over and over again in ways that made their heart ache. And then, something happened that shook them. A message, a call, a confrontation, something that reminded them that if they waited even one more day, the truth would fall into the wrong hands. Someone was getting too close, someone who shouldn't see what's inside, someone who would twist it, hide it, burn it if they could. That's when they stood up, grabbed the bag with trembling fingers, and said aloud, "It's time." It was the bravest sentence they've spoken in months. Now picture this. As they walked toward your door, every memory they carried about you rose like a wave behind their eyes. Moments where they wished they could tell you everything. Moments they watched you from a distance, wanting to step closer but holding back. Moments when your name alone could shake something inside them. With every step, they replayed the secrets, the lies, the truths, the signs that led to this exact second. And the closer they got, the more they realized that the black bag wasn't just a bundle of hidden information. It was their confession, their truth, their surrender, their way of placing their heart at your doorstep without using a single word. When they finally reached your door, they paused, not for a second, but for long enough to feel everything. The weight of the bag, the beating of their chest, the fear of what comes next. They placed it down gently, like it carried something sacred, and then they stepped back, not because they didn't want to see you, but because if they saw your face in that moment, all the walls they built around their emotions would collapse. They would tell you everything right there, unprepared, raw, shaking, and they weren't ready for that, so they walked away, hoping the truth inside the bag would speak for them in ways their voice never could. My beloved child, the instant you entered this part, the truth surrounding that mysterious black bag began to pulse, like a heartbeat echoing through the walls of your destiny. You are standing at the most intense point of this story, closer than ever to the truth that has been circling you silently, waiting for the right moment to land. And now, that moment has finally arrived. The bag at your door is no longer just an object. It has become a signal, a doorway, a turning point that refuses to be ignored. What you don't know is that the person who delivered that bag didn't simply walk away and disappear into the shadows. No, after placing it at your doorstep, they didn't go home. They didn't relax. They didn't forget. They stood far enough that you couldn't see them, but close enough to watch your door, hoping, praying that you would pick up the bag with your own hands. Their heart was pounding, their breath uneven, their emotions swirling, like a storm trapped behind their ribs. They carried that weight for far too long, caught between panic and relief at the exact same time. Part of them feared what would happen once everything finally surfaced, yet another part was exhausted from pretending nothing existed beneath the silence. What they kept hidden had been draining them quietly for months, maybe even longer, and by the time it reached your hands, the burden had already carved deep marks inside them. The truth tied to that bag wasn't ordinary or careless. It held pieces of someone's private world, fragments they never trusted anyone else to see. More than once, they stood ready to get rid of it completely, hoping distance would erase the memories attached to it. But every attempt collapsed under the same feeling they couldn't explain. Something always pulled them back before they could let go for good. It wasn't shame guiding them. It wasn't pressure or intimidation either. It was the kind of emotional attachment that survives even when conversations stop and people drift apart. No matter how hard they tried to lock everything away, the silence only made it louder in their head. Day after day, the secret became impossible to carry without breaking apart under its pressure. And when you finally look deeper into what was hidden there, you begin to understand that it's about far more than concealed facts. It uncovers intentions no one openly admitted, struggles fought in complete isolation, and emotions buried so deeply that they nearly consumed the person hiding them. They uncover the length someone went to protect your name, your peace, your image, your future. There were people who tried to twist the narrative, people who wanted to mislead them, people who whispered lies in their ears hoping to break the connection they felt with you. But none of it worked, none of it stuck, because every time they were pushed away, something pulled them right back to you, and the black bag became their proof, their testimony of everything they've seen, heard, and fought silently. Now imagine this moment. You finally reach for the bag. Your fingertips brush the surface of the black material, and right then, something shifts, not around you, but inside you, because your intuition recognizes the energy attached to it. It senses the emotional weight sealed within. It feels the struggle, the hesitation, the courage that carried this bag to your doorstep. The moment your hands touch it, you're not just holding a bag, you're holding someone's truth, someone's vulnerability, someone's fear and courage woven together, and your soul knows this is not a coincidence. This was meant to reach you, only you. My beloved child, the moment you entered this part, something inside that mysterious black bag stirred, quietly, powerfully, like the truth itself knew you were getting dangerously close to discovering it. You're not just listening to a story anymore, you're standing inside it. You're in the exact space where fate decides whether to reveal everything or keep you in the dark a little longer. And right now, fate has chosen revelation. What comes next will grip your mind so firmly that nothing else around you will exist for the next few minutes. Before that person ever stepped foot near your door, they were carrying a storm inside their chest. Every memory, every conversation, every moment they shared, or almost shared, with you began replaying in their mind like flashes of lightning. And with each flash, the truth inside that black bag became heavier, not because the objects inside weighed much, but because the emotions tied to them were almost unbearable. This wasn't about guilt. This wasn't about fear. This was about a truth they had protected like a secret flame, something they never trusted anyone else to hold. And now, for the first time, they were placing that flame in your hands. Here's something you never realized. Someone had tried to convince them that you didn't deserve the truth. Someone told them you would walk away. Someone told them you wouldn't understand. Someone close to them, even closer than you imagine, kept whispering, "Don't tell them. Keep it quiet. Hide it. They'll never forgive you." Those whispers weren't coming from hate, but from jealousy, insecurity, fear of losing influence, fear of losing control. Because the truth inside that bag doesn't just expose what they've been hiding. It exposes who was trying to come between you all along. And that's why this moment matters more than anything you've heard so far. Let me take you to the exact second the truth almost slipped away. The person holding the bag received a notification, something unexpected, a message with a single line that nearly changed the entire outcome of your story. It said something like, "If they find out, everything ends." For a moment, they froze. Their chest tightened. Their mind raced. They almost turned around. For days, they carried the weight of that secret like a storm trapped beneath their skin, convincing themselves it would be easier to disappear than to finally speak. Every excuse sounded reasonable in their head. Stay quiet. Walk away. Pretend none of it matters anymore. Yet no matter how hard they tried to bury the truth, something always pulled them back to you. It wasn't guilt alone. It was the memory of your honesty, the calm strength in your presence, and the strange comfort they always felt whenever your name crossed their mind. That's when fear slowly lost its grip. Without giving themselves another chance to hesitate, they picked up the worn black bag and stepped outside, repeating one thought over and over in silence. Some truths are too important to stay hidden forever. Across the street from your home, they stood frozen beneath the dim evening lights, staring toward your windows as if the answers they feared were waiting behind the glass. Their hands tightened around the bag until their fingers ached, not because of anger, but because of the pressure building inside their chest. They weren't preparing for an argument or some dramatic confession. This felt far deeper than that. The secret they had protected for so long had slowly become impossible to carry alone. Every sleepless night, every moment of doubt, every decision had led them to this exact point. They knew once the truth reached you, nothing between your lives would ever feel ordinary again. Still, despite the fear shaking through them, they finally understood that running from reality would hurt far more than facing it.